All right, guys, so today what we're gonna do is talk about how to calculate repairs over the phone so that you never have to go out and see a property. Coming right up. All right, guys, so in a previous video, I spoke about how you can use 3 simple questions in order to get a motivated seller to drop their price. In that video, I promised you an additional way to get that rock bottom price from the motivated seller lowered even more. The way to do this is by using the amount of work that needs to be done on a property. A lot of investors, what they do is they go out and they view a property and they take the repairs that the property needs and then they try to use that to lower the price, which is the correct way to do this. But what if you never had to go out to the property, but you can still get an idea of what the property needs so that you can make an offer on the property? That's exactly how my virtual assistants and I do it in my personal real estate investing business. What we do is we use what's called a grading system. Now, the grading system that we use, there's a lot of different grading systems out there, but we use a particular grading system which basically allows me to get an idea of how much work a property actually needs just by allowing the seller to rate the property on a particular scale. So for example, what we do is we ask the seller the question, if we had to rate the condition of your property from 1 to a 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best, what would you say your property falls at? If the seller tells you the property is a 1, then you know that it needs an extensive amount of work. If it's a 2, you know it needs a little less than the extensive amount of work. If it needs a 3, it's a moderate type of property. If it's a 4, it's in a little better condition. And anything from a 5 plus, the property is in relatively good shape. So the way that we work the numbers is this. We say if the property falls between a 1 and a 2, we know that the property needs $20 plus per square foot for rehab on the property. If the property condition falls within a 3 and a 4, then we calculate $15 per square foot for that property. And anything that's a 5 plus, we add $10 per square foot. So let's just put that and use an example just so that you can get an idea of what I'm actually talking about. Basically, when it comes to, let's say a 2,000 square foot property, if a property is 2,000 square feet and it needed, let's say the seller rated it at a 2. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2,000 square feet and we're gonna multiply that number by $20 per square foot. So that basically tells us on the average, let's say $100,000 to $150,000 home, that property will probably need somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 in work. Now let's take that same 2,000 square foot, say that the motivated seller said that that property was a 3 or a 4. This is what they rated it at. Then we're basically gonna take that number and we're gonna say, okay, this property is 2,000 square feet. If it's a 3, then I need to multiply that number by $15 per square foot. So all I'm gonna do is take 2,000 square feet multiplied by $15 a square foot. I know that for the average $100,000 to $150,000 home, maybe even $200,000, this property is gonna need about $30,000 in work. And if the property is in relatively good shape cosmetically, the property is only gonna need about $10 per square foot. So if it's a 2,000 square foot home, I'm gonna put $20,000 in work into this property. Another thing that you wanna keep in mind when it comes to estimating the repairs on a property is knowing that an extensive amount of work basically means that the property, if it's a 1 or a 2, 9 times out of 10, the roof will need to be done, the mechanics will need to be done, and it cosmetically needs a lot of work. If it's a 3 or 4, chances are the mechanics are good, the roof is good, but that property needs cosmetic work. And if it's a 5 plus, there's nothing really wrong with the property, but just like with anything else, if it's used, it probably needs a few dollars in it, and you want to estimate some type of repairs for that property as well. So again, just to recap exactly what I said, what we do is we use a grading system when it comes to estimating repairs. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Where would you say your property falls at? Again, keeping in mind that 1 and 2 will need $20 plus per square foot, and that basically means that the roof needs to be done, the mechanics need to be done, the house needs cosmetic work as well. 3 or 4, it needs basic cosmetic work, but it's pretty junked. Okay, it's a junker. Not necessarily where to the extent that the roof is bad and the mechanics are bad, but the house is pretty bad. Okay, so if you use those repair estimates, you know that you're at $15 a square foot. Cosmetically, you know that this property will need about $30,000 on a 2,000 square foot home. And then if the property is a 5+, you know it needs less work. You know it needs a cleanup job at that point. So what you do at that point is you take all of the information that you have from the motivated seller in regards to, you know, the asking price, you know, and all of the other things that we spoke about on that previous video. And then what you do is you paint the picture for the seller over the phone that this property needs some work, and you utilize that new number in order to make your offer. So let me know what you guys thought about this video. Again, be sure to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell for the next video, and leave a comment below. Again, let me know what you guys thought. What are some of the strategies that you guys are using in order to get motivated sellers to drop the price? How are you estimating repairs on your properties as well? I'm curious to know. Looking forward to doing another video for you guys, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.